New Mexico Crime Files, a deep dive into the archives, shocking and notorious cases, the arrests and what led to them, and what happened to the suspect. Here are your hosts, Dean Staley and Jessica Garrett. New Mexico Crime Files is sponsored by Medrano Struck Law Firm.
We want to welcome you to another episode of New Mexico Crime Files. I am KRQE's Dean Staley, evening anchor for KRQE, along with my co-anchor, Jessica Garrett.
Welcome, everybody, and thank you for joining us again for another episode of New Mexico Crime Files. We have some interesting cases to go through today.
We do. We've got a stack of them. The first one involves a couple of things that we see a lot of, Jess. First, the plague of drunk driving, and not just a drunk driver, but someone who's done this numerous times. And, of course, the other standby, unfortunately, and that is the high-speed chase when police least expect it.
And this guy does not want to give up. A Santa Fe cop thought he was pulling someone over for speeding. This happened back in 2016, but it turns out the driver had a long history of DWI arrests. Of course, we know this is a massive problem here in the state. And then he made a run for it. It took a utility pole to finally stop the guy.
Yeah, this is crazy. So more crazy video from this. And again, when you watch this video, Jess, we all have that thought about, I just hope my kids aren't on the road near something like this. I hope I'm not the one at the intersection when this guy comes flying through a red light. This is one of those stories.
Yeah, you just think of all the lives he's putting in danger with no thought and no care.
Yeah. So we'll take you inside this latest police chase, and this is Santa Fe police trying to track down who they thought was just a speeder. Turned out it was much worse.
I apologize.
He says he's sorry, but coming from a man with 5 DWI convictions, it's easy to see why police aren't buying it. Meet Henry Gonzalez, one of those scary New Mexico drivers you hear about all too often, driving drunk, no license, and doesn't care who else is on the road. Early last month, Santa Fe police pulled up behind Gonzalez on Cerrillos. He was weaving and speeding. The officer quickly realized this traffic stop was about to get interesting.
Beer's not stopping. It's going back up north.
Gonzalez hit the gas, getting up to 65 and a 35 in a rented Dodge Dart. When he pulled into the parking lot of the state DOT, the officer thought Gonzalez was finally coming to his senses.
Stopping.
He was wrong. Gonzalez floored it again, getting up to 70 on Cerrillos and then Cordova and blowing through a red at St. Francis. But his dangerous run would end with a bang.
He crashed.
60-plus miles an hour into a utility pole spelled the end of his freedom and the end of his open cans of Coors, which went spilling all over the inside of the car.
Get out of the car! Get out of the car!
That's when the apologies start.
I'm sorry. I apologize, man. You guys scared the out of me, though. Yeah, right.
And Gonzalez makes it clear as the officer's reading him his rights, this is old hat for him.
You have to read this to me. Okay. I already know it.
Aaron Drawhorn, KRQE, News 13.
Oh, man, Jess, another one of these
ridiculous,
stories. Right?
So ridiculous.
It happens again.
Yeah.
Henry Gonzalez drinking, no license, speeding 65 miles per hour through neighborhoods. And he's so experienced at this that he knows his Miranda rights. And I want to point out, we don't always talk about this, but police often in these cases nowadays really have to make a decision about, do I continue to pursue this person who's going through red lights? Because if this person goes through a red light as he's being chased and hits somebody, then sometimes it comes back to the police officer.
It's a tough call for them.
Yeah, a really tough call. So just another one of these cases. Yeah.
And he's lucky he didn't kill himself hitting that pole at that speed.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Shocking.
Very lucky. So he was indicted on the DWI charge in June 2016. He actually tried to plead guilty multiple times for the charge. Some of the difficulty was how many DWIs he was actually pleading to. This starts getting tricky because he has so many. They're trying to figure out, like, okay, he has case upon case on top of another
and we
case.
can't take your plea until we know exactly which DWI, because those are different charges. Yeah.
And July 7th of that year, he finally pled to his 6th DWI. After time served, Gonzalez was going to be released on November 3rd, 2017. So what do you think happens the day after he gets out of jail?
I'm just going to take a wild guess here, Jess, and say that he was involved in another DWI chase.
This day after he gets out. He did the same thing, leading police on a chase. Only this time, they really took him down. They weren't messing around. Here's a report from Jeannie Nguyen back from 2017.
It all started this past Saturday. Santa Fe police caught Henry Gonzalez weaving in and out of lanes on Cerrillos Road. Just 10 hours before this, Gonzalez was released from jail after serving more than a year for another DWI charge. According to the criminal complaint, police tried to pull Gonzalez over because one of his headlights was out, but he kept going. Police had to use stop sticks to finally get Gonzalez to pull over. Gonzalez immediately got out and started walking.
Stay down! Put down! Stay down!
Before police forced him to the ground.
Get on your knees! Get on your knees!
Police say the officer used a taser on Gonzalez because he believed Gonzalez was ready to run or fight.
These guys are crazy, man.
At one point, Gonzalez even tries to convince police of his innocence.
I'm not even drinking, man.
Gonzalez's arrest is eerily similar to his arrest last year that led to his 6th DWI conviction. Police say he was weaving in and out of traffic on Cerrillos before he tried to outrun them. A utility pole ended that chase. During his arrest, he told officers he's sorry and didn't let the officer finish reading him his rights.
And you have to read this to me. Okay. I already know it.
This time around, he had different words for the officer as he read him his rights.
You have the right to remain silent, okay? Anything you say can be used against you.
You guys are crazy.
This guy just never learns his lesson.
Yeah.
It's the 7th time. I remember the day after he's getting out of jail.
Clearly,
Could not
alcoholism here.
yes.
Clearly a problem with drinking that this man can't seem to overcome. Yeah.
No. He was sentenced to 5 years in prison with 5 years of probation. And with time served and good time, he was out in 2 years. So he did finally get some punishment.
Right. But that's astounding. 5 years
Yes.
and you get out in just 2
2
years and
years,
you're back
yeah.
on the streets. He violated his probation numerous times. In fact, 8 different times he violated probation, including a charge of aggravated fleeing. And the judge extended his probation each time. So this happens often. The judge, you come back before a judge, and instead of sending you to prison, which a lot of people would expect, would hope, let's get this guy off the streets. Well, we'll extend your probation. Please report. Please comply. Please, report to your probation officer. Ultimately, though, he got 18 months for that aggravated fleeing. He got 1 year suspended, and then 6 of those months time served. So 18 months, but really not back in jail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And his latest violation, still up to his tricks. Early 2025 this year, still getting in trouble, still not sticking to his probation and having issues with following.
Yeah. So when you're on the
those
road,
criteria,
keep
keep
an
an
eye
eye out for this guy.
Yeah. Okay, our next story when we come back will be about a major problem here in the metro, and that is not just shoplifting, but criminal rings of people shoplifting and what's being done to try to solve that problem.
We'll be right back.
New Mexico Crime Files is sponsored by Medrano Struck Law Firm, New Mexico's trusted personal injury attorneys with nearly 40 years of combined experience, fighting for the justice and compensation you deserve. Call 505-217-2200 or visit MedranoStruckLaw.com today. Let's get back to New Mexico Crime Files.
So welcome back. Here in the metro as we talk about crime here on Crime Files. We know that shoplifting is a major problem, and not just individual shoplifters, but people who operate in organized rings of shoplifters.
And we've seen some terrifying video. The one that reminds me is Sunglass Hut up in Uptown. You just have these mobs of people going in, taking a bunch of stuff. We've really seen it on the rise lately in our city.
And it makes you, if you're in the mall and you see something like that happen, how unsafe do you feel? I mean, it really is a quality of life thing. There's one thing that has to do with theft and the loss that businesses are suffering, but just the feeling of the public in these places. And law enforcement, to their credit, have responded. They've got special units going after organized crimes, going undercover, and lawmakers have made a change that I think we should probably mention where the law sort of worked to the advantage of shoplifters because you would say, oh, you shoplifted less than $500 this time and less than $500. So it never really rose to this other level of crime. And the legislature finally, to try to get a handle on this problem, passed a law that said, no, we can aggregate all of your different crimes and we can add up the number and make this a much higher level crime.
Yes, and APD is saying that is helping and it is making a difference, and we're seeing some of those retail thefts drop because of that. But they really needed to do something because it was getting out of control. Here's just one story. where law enforcement was doing one of those undercover operations, and they tried to catch the thief. And this operation specifically caught a woman on surveillance video ripping off items at a Target. And when she went to go sell what she had stolen, she was in for a big surprise.
Yeah, high dollar items, thought she got away with it, and she did not know that she was at the center of this investigation until she went to try to sell these things in the parking lot.
And here's that story from back in 2016.
For the last 2 months, Albuquerque police have been on the tail of 29-year-old Desiree Molina. She, along with a few others, has been up to no good.
Organized crime ring that's been going into a lot of our local retailers and stealing high-end products and then fencing them.
Until Molina was caught red-handed 2 weeks ago at the Target on Coors after an undercover detective got involved. According to a criminal complaint, she told the detective she could get merchandise from Target and sell it to the detective at half price. Her go-to item?
Vacuum cleaners. The high-end vacuum cleaners that go for a relatively cheapest $500 up to $700.
Inside, surveillance video recorded how she's been pulling it off.
She's using what we call an alpha key, which she stole as well, and that demagnetizes and takes all the spider wrap off of the expensive electronic equipment.
She uses the alpha key on this vacuum, then leaves the security sensor on a nearby shelf. She's on to the next big ticket item. Eventually, she walks out of the store right past the registers. When she meets the undercover detective to sell the goods, the other officers move in.
Right now, we're looking at approximately $15,000 to $16,000 worth of stolen merchandise that's been recovered and given back to the retailers.
Pretty shocking. I had no idea they even have these tools out there for them to be able to steal all this stuff.
Pretty
You're
sophisticated.
taking off with a
right.
Roomba, which are $300-400. So yeah, very sophisticated. And then just to have the guts, like steal all this stuff, keep going to the same store, and like not, she's going to the same store. They're on to her because of that. Like,
right.
Lots of bravery in this.
And one
this
thing
case.
I didn't know from this story, Jess, was whether she stayed in the same parking lot to sell. It looked like she stayed in the same parking lot. She didn't even leave and say, meet me at a park and I'll sell you the stolen items. She just went out, parked her cart, and tried to sell them right out of her car. Really crazy. This is 29-year-old Desiree Molina. And police recovered, as you heard in the story, $15,000 to $16,000 worth of merchandise from this undercover sting. I don't know if that was all from her or if that is a collective number, but that just gives you an idea of the scale of this. Thousands and thousands of dollars being taken right out of stores like this.
Yeah, and easily. I mean, she has no care in the world. She's not running out of there with all this stuff. And they're big items.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's walk people through this. Charged July 14th of 2016 for shoplifting, also trafficking a controlled substance, right? So we're talking about drugs here, and receiving stolen property. So what prosecutors did was they dropped those charges pending an investigation, which means they were looking to tie her to other people and maybe a larger crime.
Right.
So in March of 2018, the charges brought back with other drug trafficking charges. So they knew they had more on her than just the shoplifting. And she got a 19-year sentence, Jess. And you would say, oh, okay, 19 years. Wow, that seems
that's
like,
a lot.
Okay, we're probably doing something about this problem when we do this. Except for the fact that all 19 years were suspended, right? Now, since then, she's been arrested 3 more times on charges that include ag assault and shoplifting. And March of 2025, her 4th attempt to revoke. Okay, so prosecutors back in 2025, so this year, looking to revoke her probation. So she's been in trouble over and over again, and it's taken prosecutors a while to try to catch up with her and say, please, revoke her probation, let's put her in jail.
It's truly unbelievable you can get away with this stuff. You get 19 years, you think they're going tough on her,
right?
And then it's all suspended.
And let's talk about the other crime in terms of shoplifting that you and I have seen. We've even seen a police detective get caught doing this, and that is the scan code swapping, where they walk in, they take the barcode off of something that's cheap, like a couple dollar item, and they put it on a big ticket item, and they scan it. So it scans as maybe like a $2 Solo cup when it's really a $1,000 Roomba or something. So a lot of people have been doing that. And what's interesting to me is how good Target and these other stores have gotten at catching that.
They really have, and they've really had to buckle down because they've had so much of it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's been just this rising problem in our city, and it's kind of shocking just how easy. I mean, these people just go in, they're bold, and they keep going to the same place.
Right, and not just here, Jess. We saw those videos from California, right, where we had people basically marauding through a high-end mall and just grabbing, $1,000 purses and really high-end items and just all rushing out at the same time. And they look like really scary. I mean, masks on, you think they're armed, you just don't know what's going on. So this feels to me like we've had a huge wave of this, and we're in that stage of this type of crime where police and lawmakers are trying to push back.
Yeah, big kudos to lawmakers for changing that. I think that really has made a difference, changing the law and adding all these cases and really, being able to give them stiffer penalties for it.
Absolutely. Now, just let's do a story that's a little lighter, a little more upbeat. This one involves, let's call it the Lassie story.
This is, you know how much I love dogs?
Yeah.
Especially dachshunds. I have a dachshund.
Yeah.
I can't wait to share the story. We'll be right back. And welcome back, everyone. We're going to take a little turn right now and do a story that will warm your heart, Dean. I always say dogs are better than people. Dogs are just the best.
It's a fair statement.
Yeah.
Most of the time. Much of the time. Yeah.
And this is just a really unique story about a little dachshund helping a really big dog.
And it's sort of a Lassie story because you hear about the Lassie story, little Jimmy fell down the well and Lassie comes barking to get attention to bring someone to the well to save little Jimmy. I mean, that's an old right trope. But in this case, I think it's real. I mean, this is the real life Lassie, little dachshund.
Little bitty hero. The story took place in Berlin.
Which is south of Albuquerque.
South of Albuquerque. And it was just an incredible story about this little dog helping his big buddy, which was a Saint Bernard, who got himself in some trouble. And the Saint Bernard, 180 pounds Saint Bernard, let's make it clear, stuck in a cold, muddy ditch for about 18 hours.
Right, and you think about hypothermia. You think about it gets cold in New Mexico, and if you're in a ditch at the wrong time and you're wet, and man, it's kind of surprising that this dog survived after 18 hours like that.
But he had a little buddy watching out for him and was able to go get some help. And let's look at this incredible story.
And the little dog's name is Razor.
Razor,
okay.
Yes, little Razor.
Let's see what Razor has.
Jazzy is now safe and sound.
Hey, girl. Hey, Jazz.
On the road to recovery.
Good dog.
But Sunday afternoon, the 9-year-old Saint Bernard got loose. Razor, his dachshund pal, tried to let their owner, Tim Chavez, know something was wrong.
I went to feed him and he was kind of going crazy, trying to get my attention.
As Chavez was about to go to work Monday, Razor kept trying to alert everyone to something, barking at the neighbor too.
He noticed that Razor was kind of running amok and just causing a scene and trying to get his attention.
All for a good reason. Jazzy was in a bad predicament.
Razor took off through the field along the irrigation ditch and showed up here. And this is the spot that Jazzy was actually stuck in. She was stuck down here, at least 2 feet stuck into the mud.
A passerby followed Razor and saw Jazzy in the ditch. Next thing you know, 8 Berlin police and firefighters were pulling off a ditch rescue, using backboard straps and a long spine board, just like they would for a person. Rescuers saved the big dog.
It's never happened in my career, and it's in this business we see a lot of things, and this is the first time that we participated in something like this.
Police wouldn't have it any other way.
Public safety is rule number one, and preservation of life, whether it's going to be an animal or a human being.
Chavez is grateful his 4-legged friend is home sweet home.
It really means a lot.
All right, a heartwarming story, finally, here on Crime Files.
Yes.
One of the things that strikes me about this story is that dog looked like a bear on the backboard. I mean, because it was all muddy. I thought, I wouldn't go near that. Oh, it's a St. Bernard. I mean, that poor thing was in the mud for a while.
He's a big fella. He was a big dog.
180 pounds.
And I love, dachshund. This is I have a little dachshund.
Yeah.
And they're very yippy.
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
They're very, they're very, protective and want to make sure that you're okay. You come to my door, you're going to think there's this massive dog behind the door. It's not. It's my little dachshund.
Yeah.
So I could see them being, and they're very concerned. Like I could see. I would hope my dachshund would do the same.
Yeah.
I would think so.
When you fall in and you can't get up?
Get up, yeah. I'm hoping she would run for some help.
Well, the other thing that strikes me, wasn't it sweet when the dog's on the backboard and Razor is running around like, you okay? We doing okay?
Yeah,
like what you got? I got you out of the ditch. We doing, let me check in. Like, even in that moment, sort of like caretaking on this big
was
Saint
so
Bernard.
cute.
Yeah.
You could tell
I
he
got a
was
little
so
tear, Jazzy, a
worried.
little tear.
Oh, it's so sweet. I used to have a Great Dane with my dog.
I remember your Great Dane. That
and
was
they
a beautiful
loved each
dog.
other.
Yeah.
They loved each other. Little dog, big dog thing works. And they were best buddies. They loved it.
So here's the sequel. So Razor is out in the dog park and gets picked on.
Oh,
Little Razor,
yes.
right? This is the sequel to this movie, right? This is the next movie. And all the dogs, let's get this little dachshund, right? And they got him cornered. And then guess who comes along?
Jazzy.
Yeah.
Jazzy to the
comes big,
rescue.
180-pound dog saying, hey, that's my friend.
Jazzy owes his
That's my
life
friend.
to Razor.
That friend saved my life.
Yeah.
I also, what struck me too was the owner of this dog. You have to know your dog, right? When your dog comes up to you and starts barking, you know something's not right. My dog does that all the time when, you find out, there's a mouse in that wood pile. That's why he won't leave it alone, right? That's why she keeps like alerting and she won't leave it alone. She's sniffing and she's excited about it. So I think that was interesting too, that you have that relationship between the owner and the dog, and the owner knows exactly like this isn't normal.
Something's not going, something's
up.
not right. And that the little dog just led him all the way to that area.
Yeah.
And he'd been there for hours. So, this poor dog was trying to get him some help, and luckily it did work out for him. And I love how he is on the board and the firefighters come. It's like this big, goofy dog on there.
And you don't know what that Saint Bernard. Saint Bernards are like that. Is that fatigue, or is that just sort of the way a Saint Bernard? Because I had a Saint Bernard when I was a kid, and it was just like, whatever. You could jump on it, and climb on it, and it was like,
do all the work.
I don't really have a lot of energy for this right now, so you do what you need to do. But I'm just hanging out. Yeah.
I love being able to break it up a little bit and share some of these really cute stories that we do.
Yes. So next time here on Crime Files, stay tuned for the sequel that Jess and I are hoping for, which is Jazzy saves Razor from bullies in the dog park.
Yeah. There we go. We're working on it.
Get that going. We'll see you then.